Welcome back to Wall Again, where passion meets music. So I have listened to these two new Guns N' Roses tracks, Nuthin and Atlas, and I've formed some opinions on them, and I'm going to let you know what those opinions are. But before I do, please let me know what your opinions are in the comments below, and we'll see if we line up by the end of this video. So just go ahead there, I'll wait, take your time, type it into the comments below what you think of these two new tracks by Guns N' Roses. And I'd also be interested to know, are you quite a new fan to the band, or have you been listening to them for, 30 years like I have? So Guns N' Roses, obviously they've reformed back in 2016, and they've been on this circuit now for the last 9 years, basically just, playing the old material from the first few albums in the 1990s, with a couple of songs from Chinese Democracy, a couple of these new songs, like Absurd, and there was one or two others there released sort of between 2021 and 2023, and a heap of covers, and it's usually like a 2.5 to 3 hour long set. And I've seen them a couple of times since they reformed. I saw them at Slane Castle in 2017. I saw them at Marley Park in 2022 or 23, I think it was. And I have to say, like, Axl's voice is absolutely shot. So he really can't perform the songs like he used to be able to perform them. And I think they really need to look at performing them in a different way. He's trying to hit the notes, the high notes that he did when he was a younger man, and he just can't reach them. And like, there's no shame in detuning any of these songs, but the only complex thing with Guns N' Roses is obviously Slash is a big part of the sound, and his guitar is already detuned to E flat. So if he was to go much lower in tuning, and still have open strings, which a lot of those riffs are based around, he would then need to probably go with a thicker gauge of string, which wouldn't suit his style, especially as he likes to play a lot of bluesy guitar and bend notes and all the rest. So there you go. That's a quick overview of Guns N' Roses, where they are in my opinion, and where Axl Rose is as a vocalist and the band are in general. So I saw that these two songs dropped, I think it was last week, and I had planned to get around to listen to them, and eventually I did get around to listen to them today. So I had to listen through both songs once. I didn't make any notes, just made mental notes. But the first song, Atlas, to me sounds like something... the first song I listened to was actually Nothing, so we'll start with that one. Or Nuthin, as it's shown on Spotify. And I thought that song reminded me of a lot of the material on Chinese Democracy. It kind of starts off with like a keyboard intro, but Axl's voice sounds very synthesized on it. Very similar to his voice on Chinese Democracy. And this song sounds to me like it was a leftover from Chinese Democracy. I remember when that album was released, I was hugely excited for it at the time because I was big into Guns N' Roses, and then of course they released that new album, but it was Axl Rose essentially, and a lot of hard help, but that album in particular I thought was underrated. I thought it was good. Chinese Democracy, it was different. It brought in a lot of industrial elements to their music and stuff, and obviously there was no Slash, there was no Duff McKagan, there was no Matt Sorum or none of the other drummers or other guitar players that were there in the 1990s in this band. So it was essentially Axl Rose and a whole host of hired hands, hired musicians who came in to record this album. And I thought it was a good album, but there were some weak parts on it. And I did think it was very artificial sounding. Not in terms of AI, just in terms of the production. There was a lot of auto-tune used. There was a lot of electronic drums and samples used. And I didn't really like that in the music, but I still thought the songwriting was quite strong. This first song, Nuthin, to me sounds exactly like it's from that era of the band, or that era of Axl's discography. And what it sounds like is he's brought this idea. It was unfinished at the time, and I think actually the lead singer from Skid Row, the American Skid Row, Sebastian Bach, he's good friends with Axl, and he actually confirmed that there was about 3 albums worth of material in the vault ready to go when Chinese Democracy was released, and it was only released as a single album on CD. So we're led to believe there's another 2 albums worth of material knocking around in the Guns N' Roses vault, or in the Axl Rose vault. So to me, it sounds like this song is taken directly from that vault. Okay, he's probably brought it to Duff and to Slash, and the Slash guitar solo was excellent. Don't get me wrong on that song, Nuthin. But I definitely think it's a hangover from that material in the band, and hopefully they're just flushing all this material to get it out and they're actually working on a brand new album, and hopefully it's going to sound like a hard rock blues album, something like Appetite for Destruction. I think that's what we all want to hear. We want to hear a rock and roll album. We don't want to hear an overproduced album, or or an album that kind of goes down the road of even Use Your Illusion, because that album was just completely misguided and there was way too much ridiculous stuff on that album. So anyway, sticking with the songs, I thought Nuthin was a quite strong song, but again, I think the production was harking back to Chinese Democracy days. If we move on to the song Atlas, gave that a listen as well. I didn't think it was as strong as Nuthin. Again, another excellent guitar solo from Slash, but I think Axl Rose's voice is just something that really, really grates on me these days. It's something I don't enjoy listening to. I've heard him really, really bad live enough times, and when I hear his voice on the studio recordings, I just know that it's completely fake. It's artificial, it's auto-tuned, and it just doesn't sound good. So that's my view on the two songs. They're okay in terms of songwriting. They're quite good, but they're not that strong in terms of production. I think Slash's guitar solo, his guitar solos on both songs are excellent. But let me know in the comments below what you think of these Guns N' Roses songs. I would love to hear from you. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already subscribed, please hit that button. And if you could also like the video, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.